Thank you for watching this video from Jupiter Techs titled Webinars with freeconferencing.com. This is Larry Hussey. Thank you again for watching. We're going to start this video by talking a little bit about what a webinar is. Generally speaking, a webinar is any live content that you place on the internet where users can actually dial in and participate. So it's essentially an online conference call. Sometimes it's included with live video, sometimes it's just the call itself. For this tutorial, we're just going to show the audio portion of a webinar. And the way we start for freeconferencing.com is we visit freeconferencing.com, and you will first need to sign up, and you can do that by clicking here on Get Free Service. You fill out this small form and agree to the terms, and you're good to go. Freeconferencing.com is 100% free. You're able to record the calls and download them. You're able to have operator controls like a Q&A session, muting of lines, dropping of lines, and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with my credentials. And on Free Conferencing, they happen to have this great feature here, Remember Me on this computer. So with that checked, it's going to automatically put your email, password, and this here, this display name is simply used so that you can see and other people who are in the admin console can see who you are. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. It's going to take me to my conference view control panel here. Just to give you a little review of the elements on this conference view, up here in the upper left is the vital information, meaning what is the call-in number? This is your individual call-in number for your conference line or your webinar line. Your host code is here. So when you dial in on a hard line, you want to use this code so that you have operators controls to mute lines, end the call, and that sort of thing. This participant code is what you give out to your conference attendees. And then this is the playback number. Now, when you first come in here, you can see that this switch here for live conference is off. Once we're ready to actually start the conference itself, we're going to slide this over to the on position and actually begin the live conference. But first we're going to review one more tab, which is right here, History and Recordings. And from here you can actually see each and every one of your webinars or your teleconferences. And if you click on it, you can see the details. You'll actually be able to see who attended by the caller name and the phone number, how long they spent on the call, when they disconnected from the call, and etc. What you can also see from this conference history and recordings is if you chose to record this call, this webinar, you're able to download the source as an MP3 audio right here in one click. You can see it's downloading the MP3 right now. So just a quick review. All we've looked at so far is this conference view tab with the live conference off. And we've spoken briefly about the history and recordings tab. Next, we're going to go on to actually starting a live conference, and I'll demonstrate the features that you have while the conference is live. So we're in Free Conferencing. We've gotten ourselves a free account. We've logged in. And now we're actually going to start a conference. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on this Live Conference button. Click on the Live Conference button, and you'll see several things happened. One is these buttons here now became available: Recording, Hold, and Conference Lock. And then you can see here that the moderator console, which is me being logged in right now, is the only person on the call. You can see what time the call began, the duration of the call. you can tell if this particular line is on hold, on mute, or in the QA process. And you also have the ability to drop this call. You're going to want to drop a call, obviously, for several different reasons. One being maybe the call quality on the user's end is terrible and they somehow cannot get their line muted, or you cannot mute their line. So for whatever reason, you have this ability to drop any line that's on the call. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to dial in with two different phones that I have here, and I'll be back with you in one moment. Okay, so we're back, and as you can see, there's now 3 people in this webinar. There's myself logged in through the internet, and then here are the 2 different phones that I called in from. This one happens to be my cell phone, so it was able to get the caller ID with my name from the caller ID. It was also able to pull in the number from my Vonage. So this is actually not my phone number, but you'll notice if your users call in from Vonage, you won't always get their phone number. So before I move on to some of the other features, I wanted to show you this Preferences tab and go over some of the items that you're definitely going to want to change from the default. So we're going to go here to Preferences, and we'll just go down the list one at a time. The first 2 are what are called tones, entry and exit tones. This basically just means anytime somebody joins the call or anytime somebody leaves the call, you're going to hear an audible sound. And in this case, it sounds like a bell dinging. And I would definitely say for most purposes, you're going to want to turn these off. They don't really serve any purpose if you're going to be conducting a webinar. These are good in cases of maybe an open-ended support call where you're on the line for, say, an hour waiting for people to join, and you can just have a phone on speaker in the background waiting for somebody to ding in, and then you can jump on the call. But for most purposes, you're going to want these tones off so that it's not really distracting to hear all these beeps. This wait for host means that do you want the conference call itself to go ahead without the host, meaning 2 people can come on and talk without the host being there. So if you want the system to wait for the host has dialed in, then you're going to set this wait for host to on. And this just tells you how long you're actually going to wait for the host past the time that somebody tries to get on the conference call. Continue without host is sort of the opposite. It will simply carry on with the webinar without the host calling in. Announce the caller count. There's a setting for the host and for the participant. So you can have it to where the host hears the call count as people join. There are 5 people on the call, there are 6 people on the call, and you can set it whether or not the participant can hear that total when they sign into the webinar also. Caller count is the same thing. So this announce caller count means when you first log in or you first sign in to the call, do you want the host and do you want the participant to hear the total number that are in the call at that time? This in-call caller count is as people are already on the webinar. Do you want them to hear the current count of people on the call each time someone joins? Again, I prefer to have these all off. Participants see all attendees. This is only useful in cases where you have users actually signing into free conferencing. So this is not usually something you need to be concerned with because your participants are not going to log into freeconferencing.com they're going to call into your conference line on a phone, so they're not going to see any participants. It's the same thing with this. Participants see active speakers. There's a feature over here in the conference view where you can actually see which one of the lines is speaking at any moment. And this just says if your participants are logged into free conferencing, do you want them to see who the active speaker is? So once I've made these changes, I want to click Save and just get this confirmation. And now we're going to go back to the conference view and actually start this webinar. Currently underway. You can see here the conference is live. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to record the conference. This is very easy. It takes literally one click. So I'm going to just click on this recording button, which slides it over to the on position. And now you can see that it is being recorded. So I have one caller on the line, 972 number. Now what I can do here, and I'm going to pull out the phone that I'm on the conference call with. I'm going to take it off mute, and you're going to see this volume indicator actually shows that I'm the one talking right now on the conference. So if you hear some static, you hear some noise in the background, you're actually going to be able to tell exactly who it is. And if they have their blender on or their dog's barking in the background, whatever it may be, you can easily just mute that one particular line, just like that. So that's how to mute an individual line and also how to see who is actually talking at that moment. So our call is recording. We're going to actually turn on the Q&A right now. When I flip that little switch, everybody on the webinar will hear the fact that the Q&A session has started, and all they have to do in order to show up in this queue is they have to dial *6, and it's going to confirm that you want to be added to the queue. You press 1, and you can see that my phone number and my name have now been added to the Q&A queue. So you can simply just click on this button, which will unmute this line. And it will also let the person who's in the queue know that it's their time to talk. They'll actually hear an audible message saying that we're ready for your question. So we're going to turn that QA off. This is Larry Hussey with JupiterText.com. Thank you for watching webinars with freeconferencing.com. Look for more details to come about webinars in the future. Thank you.